Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Nathan ELEMENTofFROST, and we are back here yet again, but this time to talk about a little something different, okay? And I haven't actually brought this here on my channel for a while. I've done it before, but I'm going to be talking about the WWE today. Now, I'm a big fan of wrestling. I'm a big fan of the WWE and NXT and, everything like that. And NXT is really mainly what we're talking about here today. More specifically, NXT Takeover Dallas. That actually happened last night, which was Friday, April the 1st, okay? So NXT Takeover Dallas was an incredible pay-per-view. It was basically like... Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Nathan ELEMENTofFROST, and we are back here yet again. But this time, talking about something a little bit different on my channel. Now, I've done it before. I've done some videos on the WWE and stuff like that before on my channel, but it's been a hell of a long time. And I just want to reiterate that I'm a huge fan of wrestling, and actually a couple of people have asked me to, sort of give my opinions and thoughts on, things that are going on in WWE, like with Wrestlemania, stuff like that. And that's specifically what we're going to be talking about here today, is Wrestlemania, but not the main Wrestlemania. We're going to be talking about NXT's Wrestlemania, which is exactly what we witnessed last night on NXT TakeOver Dallas. It was insane, guys. The pay-per-view that they put on, or event, whatever you guys want to call it, because it's not really a pay-per-view anymore. It's sort of just on the network. But, I don't know, the main showing, if you will, it was insane, man. Friday, April 1st, NXT TakeOver Dallas was amazing. Now, to get into things, we're not going to really get, too deep into any of the matches. I just want to, tell you guys my opinions and thoughts on the superstars involved in those matches, and, who I think maybe should have won the match, rather than, actually who won the match. But, let's go ahead and get into it. So, like I said, this was sort of the WrestleMania of NXT. This was a big event. It was huge, and actually all the matches were a hit. They were all really, really well done, and the finishes a little bit shaky on some of them, but nonetheless a really well-rounded pay-per-view, or again, whatever you guys want to call it. But I'm not sure how WrestleMania is going to top it. You know what I mean? In the way of wrestling, WrestleMania isn't going to top it. There's no way that they can top this pay-per-view with a wrestling. WrestleMania, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's all wrestling, you know what I mean? But the technical wrestling in this pay-per-view, and just what we've seen, in terms of physicality and wrestling like that, it's not going to be topped. Not by WrestleMania, not by a long shot. And to start things off, I'm not a huge fan of NXT. Like, I don't watch it every single week like I should. I got some things to do and everything like that on the channel. But I do try to keep up with it as much as I possibly can, by watching replays on the WWE Network and, stuff like that on YouTube, and learning about different teams and, different people and everything like that involved in NXT, okay? So, the first match of the night was the American Alpha versus the NXT Tag Team Champions, which was the Revival. Now, the Revival is a very well-rounded team, and I like them. They're obviously heel at this point, so it was heel versus face, being face American Alpha. And American Alpha actually ended up defeating them and winning the Tag Team Championships, on NXT TakeOver Dallas. Now, I thought it was cool. This is actually the first time I've seen American Alpha compete. This is just my first time in general seeing them compete or anything like that, seeing them as a team. But I thought it was entertaining. I think it was an entertaining match. Now, again, I didn't really know either of the teams very well, you know what I mean? I haven't really followed them or anything like that very well. I knew the Revival a little bit more. But other than that, you know what I mean? It was sort of wrestlers that I didn't really know. But that didn't really come into effect when I was looking at the match and when I was watching it, because it was such a well-rounded match and it had really good physical wrestling, and it was really good. You know what I mean? So it was a face versus heel team, and face pulled out on top. Now, it could have gone either way. You know what I mean? I would have been happy with either team winning, because they're both really, really good. But obviously, you're supposed to want to vote for the good guys. That's sort of the point of wrestling, you know what I mean? Face versus heel. You're supposed to want to go for the good guys, but you just got to, take a seat and, sit back and realize that they're both brilliant teams, you know what I mean? And they're not bad in real life. They're not good like that in real life, you know what I mean? They're just teams, you know what I mean? That's how they are in real life. and this is just a persona. So if you take into account the wrestling that comes with that persona, it's pretty insane. So it could have gone either way, and I would have been happy. Now, the next match, we actually get to see a debut of a former TNA superstar and just general wrestler pretty much across the globe, Austin Aries versus Baron Corbin. Now, I'm a huge fan of Baron Corbin, and I would have loved to see Baron Corbin win this match. But again, face versus heel. Austin Aries versus Baron Corbin. Austin Aries is sort of like the underdog of the match, and he actually pulled out the victory. Now, I'm happy about Austin winning because it was his debut. I couldn't really imagine him losing his debut in the WWE or on NXT, either or. NXT is still WWE, so I'm just generalizing it. I wouldn't really see him, losing his debut match. I mean, it very well could have happened, and if it did happen, I wouldn't really be upset because it would be, a loss to someone like Baron Corbin, which in my opinion shouldn't really be in NXT for too much longer, you know what I mean? He's grown as a superstar, and I feel like he deserves an NXT title shot, but at the same time, I feel like he could excel to the main roster with no problem at this point, you know what I mean? I think he's really, really good in the ring, and I don't know, I was just glad to see them both fight, because Austin Aries, he's an amazing competitor, Baron Corbin was an amazing competitor, Austin Aries won, but, in all reality, we sort of all won just by watching the match, you know what I mean? So, other than that, the next match was insane. This next match was the debut of a star, dude. I'm telling you, he is insane. Now, I believe I'm pronouncing it right. It's Shinsuke Nakamura. I believe I pronounced that right. If I didn't, don't hang me or crucify me in the comment section. It's Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, I'm not I don't get to watch, indies wrestling or, New Japan wrestling or anything like that very often, so I'm not really experienced, you know what I mean, in that way of wrestling, but holy shit. Last night was an insane match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn, obviously, the heart, pretty much in the soul of NXT. He carried NXT on his back for quite some time now. And Shinsuke sort of, he got a victory over Sami Zayn. He did win, but again, we all won. Because that match was the match of the night, in my personal opinion. Wasn't even the main event, but it was insane. The debut of Shinsuke Nakamura, the talent in that ring alone, just between him and Sami Zayn, was insane. There was a moment where they were just both throwing forearms after forearms, and just punching each other back and forth for, I'd say, a solid 5 minutes. And you'd think that would be boring, but they made it entertaining as hell. And I loved every single second of it. So, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Shinsuke won. I'm happy that he did, because it's his, it's sort of his debut. But at the same time, it's sort of like saying to Sami Zayn, you don't have to carry this company on your back anymore. This could be your way out. He has actually a match at Wrestlemania in an NXT, or not an NXT rather, but in a Intercontinental title shot in a ladder match, you know what I mean? He's sort of already graduated to the main roster, and this, I believe, could be Sami Zayn's way out of NXT, permanently. Eventually, everybody, stops going to NXT and just stays on the main roster, like we've seen with Kevin Owens. You know what I mean? Back when Kevin Owens originally debuted on Raw, he was on WWE and NXT for quite some time, and that's sort of the phase that we're seeing Sami in right now. But this match, in my opinion, was like a farewell to Sami, and I'm glad that it took place. It was insane. Match of the night. Really, really was. Next match was a women's championship match. It was Asuka? Asuka? I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry. I'm bad with these pronunciations. It's Asuka. I know how they're all pronounced. But again, I'm not too experienced with the NXT side of things. Again, I do watch it, and I do keep up to date with it, with the superstars and everything like that, the rivalries that are going on. But I don't watch it as much as I should, and I do admit that. But I do enjoy the shit out of it when I do watch it, because it's absolutely insane. NXT, in my opinion, is something you could pick up just by watching it, pay-per-views. You don't even have to watch the normal TV show. You know what I mean? You don't have to watch just NXT on Wednesdays and, still have an absolutely insane, wrestling pay-per-view when you just watch the pay-per-views. And, if you're a wrestling fan, that's what you get. That's what you get. You don't have to have people that you know and love all the time. You just have to see wrestling, and that's exactly what we've seen here in this Women's Championship bout. It was Asuka versus Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship, and obviously Bayley, being the champion. Unfortunately, Bayley, did not win. Asuka actually defeated her, but she got Bayley in the Asuka lock and actually ended up passing Bayley out. So Bayley never tapped out. She never tapped out. She never got pinned. She just straight up, her body gave up on her. You know what I mean? She couldn't go anymore. And I thought that was a really good way to end it, so that Bayley doesn't really look like a person that tapped out to the Asuka lock, and it still sort of makes her look strong. You know what I mean? And obviously Asuka, new NXT Women's Champion. She's going to be amazing as a Women's Champion. She really, really is. The Women's Division in NXT is far superior than the Divas Division and the normal main roster of WWE, in my personal opinion. I'm not a huge fan of the Women's, or Divas, whatever, division in WWE, other than Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. That's pretty much it. And really, the only hit there is Sasha Banks. Becky Lynch is acceptable. Charlotte's just fucking annoying, in my personal opinion, with her dad. They ruined her persona, in my personal opinion, completely. And, Nikki Bella right now, she's out with an injury. I can't wait till she comes back, you know what I mean? That was sort of the saving grace for the Divas division, pretty much after AJ Lee left and retired. Now, me comparing AJ Lee to Nikki Bella is no comparison. AJ Lee is 100 times, 1,000 times better, and way more cooler and way more entertaining to watch than Nikki Bella. But like I said, Nikki Bella was sort of what we were left with, and she definitely held her own. You know what I mean? I'll give her credit. But she's injured right now with a neck injury. Now, we're not talking about the WWE. I don't know why I got off track. But Asuka versus Bayley, again, amazing match. The finish was pretty cool. Again, some of these finishes are a bit shanky, but it was all right. You know what I mean? So already we see two titles in NXT change hands. Okay, tag team championships now belong to American Alpha. Women's championship now belongs to Asuka. So, what better than to move on to the NXT championship bout between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe? But before we get there, we got to see Bobby fucking Roode showing up in NXT TakeOver Dallas. He was just sort of in the audience, watching, and he got a little spot there on screen, and I thought that was really, really cool. Bobby Roode obviously being a huge TNA star, you know what I mean? Really huge wrestler, and I'm excited, man. You know what I mean? He's a free agent right now, so hopefully he actually decides to go with NXT. Hopefully, he's getting up there in his age. He's about 39 right now, I think, but I've always been a big fan of him, and beer money and everything like that. But Bobby Roode in NXT would be pretty insane. So, anyways, NXT champion Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe. Now, right off the bat, the fight started off with Samoa Joe basically getting headbutted and busted open. And this sort of played into the match for the good, but at the same time, it sort of pissed off the crowd. You know what I mean? He got busted open right over the eye, and the doctors kept taking him aside to sort of, patch him up and do like that. And the crowd was just like, let Joe bleed. Let Joe bleed. It was an insane match. It didn't go as long as I thought originally it would have, but it's Finn Balor, the Demon, and versus Samoa Joe. And anytime you have those two in the same ring at the same time, competing for the prestigious title of NXT, which is the NXT Championship, it was amazing. You know what I mean? Now, this is one of the finishes where I believe, personally, Samoa Joe, I think, should have won, because if you took the title off Finn Balor at this point, that would first set up Finn Balor for a return match with Samoa Joe for the title. But if you took the title off Finn Balor, he could get promoted to the main roster like Sami Zayn right now and go back to NXT just for that one last title shot against Samoa Joe. Now, I think that would have been a really good way to, obviously do that, because Finn Balor, in my opinion, is 100% ready to go to the main roster. He's energizing, you know what I mean? That character, the Demon, needs to be on the main roster, on Raw, on SmackDown, on actual pay-per-views, and I think that would really help the WWE out as a whole. And that would have been a really good way to do it, because we would have been able to get, you know, one more match at a Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe. But that's not how it went down. So Samoa Joe actually ended up hooking him up in the rear naked choke, or whatever he wants to call it. I'm not sure what he calls it here in NXT, but it was the rear naked choke. And he was about to cinch it in, and Finn Balor actually at the end basically ran up the turnbuckle and sort of fell backwards and curled him, you know, up while he was still in the rear naked choke, you know, the choke around his neck, and actually pinned Samoa Joe that way. Now, it was a cool finish. It was a cool way to do it. But again, in my opinion, Samoa Joe should have won, and Finn Balor should have been promoted to the main roster. Now, if Samoa Joe did win, my thoughts and opinions go out to basically Finn Balor not coming out as the Demon. Because right now, currently, Finn Balor is completely undefeated as the Demon. And I think that he should remain that way for a very long time. Because he's not undefeated as normal Finn Balor. You know what I mean? He's been defeated like that. But the Demon is undefeated, which is why I thought that he was going to win this anyway when he came out as the Demon. But, you know, I was thinking they might go with Samoa Joe anyway, and that sort of made me nervous, because I didn't want him to lose that streak as the Demon of being undefeated, because the Demon, you know, being undefeated sort of gives it purpose, you know what I mean? Like, you should be scared of the Demon coming out, because you're most likely going to lose type thing. And I thought that was entertaining. I really did. I thought that was entertaining. So, the finish to that match was a bit shaky, but other than that, really solid pay-per-view, really solid match between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. It was amazing. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That was NXT TakeOver Dallas. Now, if you guys want to see my opinions and thoughts on WrestleMania and everything like that coming up, let me know in the comment section below, and I might do one on Monday or Tuesday, most likely, because Monday will be my episode review for The Walking Dead season finale, which airs tomorrow, which I cannot wait for. WrestleMania is tomorrow, and the season finale of The Walking Dead is tomorrow, so I'm going to have a long night. You know what I mean? I'm going to have a long night, and I can't wait. Okay? So let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of the pay-per-view NXT TakeOver Dallas. I thought it was amazing. Again, match of the night, in my opinion, was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. It was insane. It was really, really cool, and it was nice to see some really, really good wrestling. I don't know how WrestleMania is going to top it, but if they do, you know, all the power to them. Prove me wrong, and top NXT TakeOver Dallas. If you guys want to see more reviews or my thoughts and opinions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below, and I will definitely be down for doing some more. And that is pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.